All right, guys, and so mostly I like to stick to omnibus reviews or deluxe editions, and this Man of Steel series isn't quite deluxe. It's not as tall as a deluxe book. Deluxe books are usually the same size as an omnibus in terms of length, but this obviously is not. As you can see, if you put it side to side, it is still a little bit smaller. However, it is bigger than a trade back by just a little bit, mostly the hardcover edges on the top. But I really wanted to review all four volumes. I'm actually in the midst of reading volume 3, and I wanted to go back and review volume 1 for you guys if you should pick these up, because these are all still in print right now at the time of recording, and I'm sure in a year or so they will be out of print, one of them, and then everybody will be sad. So should you pick up Man of Steel, the series from 1986, well, watch this review and find out. So we open up this volume with the Man of Steel miniseries. This is done by Byrne in both the art and storytelling, and it's really a great little mini to reintroduce us to Superman. See, in 1986, we had Crisis on Infinite Earth, and this basically was a reset button for DC. So they decided to reintroduce their characters to the audience, and with Frank Miller doing that with Dark Knight Returns, and George Perez doing that with Wonder Woman, Byrne did that with Superman. The Man of Steel mini is a ton of fun, giving us some new mythos to a character who, at this point, had already been around for decades, making Superman a bit weaker, having his parents still alive, giving us a bit more serious storytelling. Oh, and also Lois is an actual character this time around, with her own life and goals, and not just a, product or tool in the background. And Luthor being a very rich piece of asshole instead of kind of just like a mad scientist. So that's really cool, which is basically the foundation for Luthor after this. This is who every single Superman story has based themselves on after this came out. And after that, we break into more one-shots or two-part storylines, and all of it's pretty much written by Byrne, and Marv Wolfman comes along and then actually flexes his writing chops. And as someone who's never really gotten to his Teen Titans, which is pretty much his biggest run he's ever done, I thought Marv's storytelling in this wasn't all that great. He introduces this circle storyline that just goes way too long, and honestly, it is the weakest part of the book for me, is his kind of issues throughout. Saying that, the rest of the stories in here are pretty solid, especially one I like to point out where Superman gets brainwashed by Darkseid. And it's kind of dark, it's kind of silly at times, it's kind of epic also, but it has a great payoff, and it actually made me want to read more New God stuff. So that's always a plus in my opinion. And I just really liked Superman becoming kind of a champion for Darkseid and then being like, yo, you brainwashed me, I'm gonna fuck you up. That's awesome to me. Is this the greatest Superman run of all time after reading this? Well, I still got 3 more volumes, so maybe. But I will say this. I don't know if I'd say it's the greatest run or the greatest Superman story I ever read, but I think it's a really great introduction to the character. You take the cheese of like the 80s dialogue and you mix it with Superman's hopefulness and a beacon of inspiration, and then you just add some great art at point. Especially John's Superman design really works for me. Jerry Ordway, I believe is his name, is also a really solid artist too. Obviously, he's been in the game at this point for a while. He does Superman pretty cool, and the fight scenes are fun. So yeah, overall, if I had to just review this and give it a score, it's kind of hard for me because there's a lot of little one-shots, and so, some are good, some are not too good, some are great. So it's a little harder than one big main storyline like I usually do. However, I absolutely had a good time reading this. A lot of fun, and for someone who usually doesn't read that much 80s comics, I'm much more of a 2000 up person, I gotta say, I was really enjoying almost every moment of this. Even the weaker stories were decent enough that I read through them, and then I picked up volume 2, 3, and 4 right after I finished this. So, saying that, I have to give this a 4 out of 5.